Hey y'all, it's me again, Queen.Reads. I make so many changes in my videos, but for the Tedium and Blue, I'm just deciding I'll probably do like one chapter every video because that last video was really long, and this one's gonna be long just for like one chapter, and I don't want my videos to be an hour long, so you sit through that painfulness. Yeah, anyways, enjoy! What? You asked, pausing the noisy typing of your keyboard to give full attention to the coworker looming over your desk. Can't back out now. I'm setting you up, and he knows when and where to meet. And I know you don't have plans because you never have plans, they exclaimed, patting you a little too forcefully on the shoulder. It took an excruciating amount of effort not to groan. What if I don't want to go on a date with a total stranger? They shrugged their shoulders, face pulled into a plastic, toothy smile. You need to get out more. I promise he's great. It'll be fine. After writing his name on the restaurant on a sticky note stolen from your desk and plastering it onto your computer screen, they brushed off their hands as if their good I don't know that word. Please don't bully me. Deed for the day was complete. Have you told him about me? Like, what does he know? You bit out slowly, taking the note from your screen. Oh, loads. I made you look good. Don't worry. Completely confident in their ability to play you up as some mildly interesting to a complete stranger, they walked back to their desk, resuming the click and clack of computer work. The whole situation made your head feel like lead, the brain between your ears wanting nothing more than to weigh your skull and slam it into your scratch-to-work desk. The problem wasn't necessarily the date itself. No, you could openly admit the last date you went on was a while ago. Didn't go well. The thought of being single forever wasn't particularly appealing. No, the issue was your coworker. They didn't know you at all. Not the real you, anyways. Not the you outside of the office. The mechanics of routine present when you showed up to work every day, when you left, how you conversed with your coworkers, how often you laughed at jokes. What kind of jokes you laughed at, or how often the laughter was faked to avoid appearing too stoic in an environment where you knew, quote-unquote, fitting in was a paramount to the company politics. The you they knew wasn't really you at all. So if the fake you is what this mystery man expected, well, he was probably in for a disappointing first meeting. Your interactions with the merman were progressing as well as could be expected. To contrast, he continued to learn words, stringing them together in ways that sometimes made you laugh. He absorbed the information at a striking pace, eager to show that he could pay attention and recite what he learned at any given opportunity. Today was no different. Okay, don't be annoyed, but I won't be here tomorrow. You sighed out to the merman laying next to you on the pier. A week had passed since the incident with the fishermen. They didn't come back, and now he split his time between the water and laying more openly next to you. Head supported in his webbed hands, tail lazing off to the side of the weather-worn wood, he seemed at ease. Building up a rapport of trust took time, but you were making progress. His ruby eyes flitted from your fidgeting fingers to the look of guilt on your face. Why? He asked, voice raspy yet firm. You cleared your throat awkwardly before answering, avoiding his observant gaze. Someone at work set me on a date. It's stupid, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. You shrugged. What's a date? The last word was experimental on his tongue. Well, it's generally when, like, two people get together and hang out. like us now," he interrupted, finishing off the last piece of sushi you'd brought covered in extra wasabi. "Apparently he loves spicy things." Your cheeks turned an awful shade of pink at the implication. Shaking your head, you continued with the definition with careful words. "No, not like us. Date has romantic significance. To see if two people like each other as more than friends." Glancing over, the merman immediately bristled, the blonde hair on the back of his neck standing straight, not unlike that of an angry dog. He turned on you in a huff. "Romance?" he practically barked at you, red eyes wide and brow furrowed. "Like a mate?" You leaned away, taken aback by a sudden aggressive turn. Mate? Is that what you call a romantic partner?" The term was familiar to you when it came to animals, so maybe mer people had a similar system when it came to partners. Observing him warily, he seemed to mull the words over in his head, making sure he understood before speaking. "You date," the merman said slowly, "to find mate?" "I guess, yeah. I mean, not everyone wants a partner or finds someone to spend their life with, but for the most part, yeah, humans want companionship, to be loved." You trailed off, thinking about your failed past relationships. Some of them had promising starts, but ultimately didn't work out. A couple were disasters that you were glad to escape from. Still, some days proved more difficult than others when dealing with an empty apartment with only your cat to greet you. It was lonely, truth to be told, but you dealt with it. Now the topic of conversation made you curious. He asked you about a mate, which you inferred it meant he wasn't the only mer person around, like you'd first guessed, and abnormally in the sea. He wasn't alone. "So, do you have a mate then?" you asked, carefully watching his reaction. He quickly turned his head to the side and scoffed, though you didn't miss the slight dusting of pink on his cheeks. "No mate," he replied through gritted teeth. You let out a breath. You didn't realize you were holding at his answer. His gruff voice gave the indication that this particular topic was This particular topic of conversation was over. Fine by you. Discussing your non-existent love life wasn't exactly exciting business anyways. You were a ball of nervous anxiety. The next day, dreading this date, your coworker set you up on without even asking first. They gave you some basic information about the guy. Nothing really set off alarm bells that he was anything other than average. Just like you. Maybe you'd have something in common after all. I don't know that word. Please don't bully me. Mediocrity? I don't know. Please don't. Going home from work to change clothes first, you pulled out an outfit that wasn't too formal but looked like you put some effort in. First impressions mattered, right? Arriving at the restaurant a bit early, you sat down and waited. It was fairly new but appeared busy, various smells hitting your nose pleasantly. You weren't given his number, your coworker probably assuming he'd hand it over if the date went well. Ordering a glass of wine for yourself, your eyes scanned over the menu. 15 minutes passed. The seat across from you was still empty. You told yourself he was running late or got caught in traffic. No big deal. Half an hour later, you ordered another glass of wine, the red bitter on your tongue. Another half hour went by. The waiter came back, a pitying look on his face as he looked at the blank seat across from you, passing over the empty wine glass to your face. A mixture of sadness and jilted anger across your features. "Excuse me, would you just give me the check?" you muttered out, staring daggers at an imaginary man across the table, lit by a single flickering candle. After paying, you stumbled out of the restaurant, head swimming and feet heavy. You anticipated a bad day, one that might join the list of other unsuccessful adventures in romance. But being stood up completely by someone you never met? That hurt. It stung. Walking down the street, the lamps overhead feeling especially bright, your mind wandered into dangerous territory of questions you knew you shouldn't ask. The footsteps of casual laughter of happy passerbys were muffled by static in your ears. Maybe it was alcohol talking. Maybe the bubbles of self-doubt surfaced after years of burying them with false hope and lies told in the dark, cool air of your bedroom as you slept alone at night. Maybe it was a mix of both. Were you that boring? Had your coworkers shown them a picture and determined you too ugly even to meet in person, so they bailed at the last minute? Did they just agree to the date to pacify your coworkers' nagging? Did they forget about you? Mundane, average, boring. A routine life of tedium. That was you. Maybe you were meant to be alone. Maybe no one wanted you. Your false smile at work a little too plastic. Your peers thinking the fake you a little too unemotional, laughing at the same jokes with the same people day in and day out. Tears pricked at the corners of your eyes as the familiar scent of salt water and damp sand filled your nose. Your feet moved on their own accord to the pier, now shaded by light of moon overhead. The sun sleeping under the ocean current, with familiarity brought comfort. Your arms wrapped around yourself at an attempt for some semblance of relief, fingers gripping tightly to your sleeves as you laid down heavily on the scuffed wood of the piers, eyes fixed upwards at the constellations you can never remember the names of. So here comes the singing part. I'm not going to be singing, but if you want to listen to the song, it's Burning Hill, I think that's what it's called, by Mitski. I think that's her name, but you can listen to that. Anyways, continuing. Today I will wear my white button down. Your voice was shaky, but the words wouldn't stop. A tune playing in your heart, spiraling up into your mouth. Lyrics sticky and thick on your tongue like bitter syrup. I'm tired of wanting more. I think I'm finally worn. Your cheek was damp, a salty tear soaking into the wood under your hair. It would dry up soon, forgotten like the millions of raindrops etched into the grain whenever the sky cried. You felt tired, for you have a way of promising things. Lots of promises of hoping for something amazing, something spectacular. No, too much. Even if something that just made you happy would be enough at this moment, as your cracking voice lifted into the damp night like a dim firefly, invisible unless vigilant and curious eyes sought it out. And I've been a forest fire. I am the forest fire. And I am the fire, and I am the forest, and I am a witness watching it. Your chest, I stand in a valley watching it. Your chest felt like it was about to burst as a sob escaped your throat. And you are not at all there. Maybe you were meant to be alone. Maybe a rough hand wobbled into your vision, distorted by spilling tears, and touched your cheek gently. It was light, nothing more than a brush of air. Ruby eyes and blonde hair hovered over you, brows furrowed in a questioning look. The merman was completely silent in his approach, probably drawn in by the singing and sounds of pathetic crying. You sniffled and looked away, wholly embarrassed at the moment when you realized you weren't alone in your sadness. No, he whispered softly, the usual raspiness of his voice absent. A tear stuck to your eyelash, finally fell onto your skin, flushed from alcohol and frustration, but he caught it with another gentle touch. You remained on your back, arms still folded, knuckles white from the grip on your sleeves, your toes curled into your shoes. The silence was deafening, your own shaky breath like fog in your ears. He didn't move, webbed hand still cradling your cheek. What's your name? You finally asked. Somehow, until this moment, you never thought to find out if he had a name, or tell him your own. He tilted his head slightly, less than a foot away from your face, not understanding the question. Uncrossing your arms, you gestured to yourself, fingertips digging into the fabric at your chest. I'm YN. Me, YN. You uttered, slowly, his eyes following your hand to your lips and back again. Finally, you pointed at his chest, brushing against his skin like the tickle of flower petals. You are? Bakugo. Bakugo. You repeated, and he nodded, eyes never leaving your own. For the first time that night, you managed a small smile. It's a nice name, strong. It suits you. He didn't move at all, but his eyes resembled miniature suns into you at the moment, bright and sparkling and full of life, even under the dim light of the pier veiled under the night sky. What about date? Bakugo asked slowly. Oh, right, the date. You laughed bitterly, hands at your sides, fingers drumming on the greeny wood. He didn't show up. Don't know. Shrugging your shoulders, you glanced off to the side at the empty beach. Maybe he forgot or changed his mind, so I left. The hand on your cheek shifted to grip your chin, turning your head, eyes fixed on the merman named Bakugo. Everything felt incredibly warm, and it wasn't because of the alcohol. He's stupid, Bakugo barked out with a conviction that made your eyes go wide. Understand? It's a word that you used often when teaching him phrases and meanings to make sure he grasped the proper interpretation. The implication when he said it to you now wasn't lost. You nodded and he looked satisfied. Maybe it was the wine bubbling in your system that made you feel bold, pooling in your head as you laid with your back against the hard wooden slats. Pfft. I bet he was ugly anyways. You slurred, grinning with warm cheeks. Bakugo let go of your chin, both hands positioned on either side of your head as he leaned over you. Your tail alone, you continued, pointing over to his less human half, is way prettier than that stupid idiot could ever hope to be. An incredibly smug grin highlighted his features, toned chest puffed out as he proudly shifted his tails, scales glistening against the reflection of water shining from below. The scene made you laugh, happy for the change in the atmosphere. I'd rather be here than a boring day anyways. I'm not stupid, Bakugo stated as an indisputable fact that should not be questioned. He leaned in close, very close, his breath cool on your flushed face. Holy crap, he was pretty. You not stupid, he emphasized. He swallowed hard, his eyes pools of passion as deep as endless expanse of blooming roses, opening your mouth to reply something you'd probably regret. The vibration of your phone buzzing in your pants pocket ruined the moment as Bakugo shifted away with a snarl. You fished the phone out of your pocket, not recognizing the number. Hello? A loud voice on the other end cut through the calm sea air. Where the heck are you? I look like an idiot now because you bailed on the date I set up on for you. You pulled the phone away from your ear, wincing from the volume. It sounded like your coworker. Wait, you bailed? Hold on. I waited there for over an hour, and that crap face didn't show up, so I left. End of story. They continued to yell into the phone, your eyes rolling back towards the back of your head at the dramatic tone. For once, you wanted them to just shut up. From warm alcohol running through your system as liquid bravery, you got an idea. Holding this phone out to Bakugo, you smirked. Tell them to shut up, okay? Just say it into the phone. Eyes flitting between you and the device, your hand, but you nodded as he mirrored your smirk before yelling, "Shut up!" into the receiver, a hand covering your mouth in an attempt to stifle your laughter. His voice echoed farther than you anticipated, but you didn't care. The line on the other end immediately went quiet until they started yelling again, at which point you hung up and put your phone on silent, stuffing it into the back into your back pocket. Perfect! You did great. I've wanted to say that to them for years. Without thinking, he brought a hand up to pat his head approvingly. Surprisingly, he didn't shift away, smiling excitedly into the touch. His hair was soft. You tell someone to shut up when you don't want them to be when you want them to be quiet. Understand? It took a second before Bakugo nodded. You took your hand away from his hair, letting it drop beside you like a dead weight, enjoying the feeling of fleeing strands against your fingers. A wanting look flitted across his face, only for a moment, but you missed it. Eyes focused upwards on the dark, cloudless sky, an ocean above and below. Why did you show yourself to me? You asked suddenly. Your bravery hadn't worn off yet. Questions sliding across your curious tongue, wanting the taste of an answer only Bakugo could provide. Why me? What makes me so special? The questions hung in the air, heavy and thick like dense fog, despite the cool breeze the waves provided. Your eyes finally met his, oddly serious, a shift from the look of pleased amusement from just a few minutes ago. You looked alone, he finally muttered. He knew you better than your coworker. The truth of such a short yet poignant. Please don't bully me in the comments for pronouncing words wrong. Thank you. A statement hitting you like a punch you couldn't dodge. Most humans there. A webbed hand pointed over to the beach, empty aside from the daily remnants of sand castles and overflowing trash cans. But you, he said, a hand returning to the point directly in your face. Always alone. Always, he repeated slowly. Did you watch me? Watch others? He shrugged. Humans fun to watch. Bakugo smirked, eyes trained on you. Throw fish. You snorted, recalling the memory of the previous week. His hand returned to the side of your head, palm flat against the wood, fingers brushing against your hair like a light breeze. Well, you aren't wrong. Humans can be pretty entertaining sometimes, and yeah, I guess you aren't wrong about me being alone either. He watched your expression fall, a faraway look behind your eyes. But what about you, Bakugo? Are you alone too? He looked away for a moment. You thought you delved too far, you asked one question too many of him. He turned back to you, though. The ocean breeze ruffled his hair so casually you forgot for only a moment that he wasn't human. Not alone now, the merman declared, voice absent of raspiness, the same as when he brushed your tears away. Gentle waves crashed against the pillars of the pier, background noise behind the thumping of your heart behind your rib cage. No, not alone now, you muttered, despite the beauty of the night sky behind him. The stars held no comparison to his eyes, specks of red bright against an endless expanse of black blue above you. So today I'll wear my white button down. Your walk home was sober, a smile tugging at the corners of your lips, the street lamps above you casting dancing shadows behind you. I can at least be neat, walk out and be seen as clean. A soft meow greeted you home, back arching up and chest purring for the familiarity of your affection, which you freely and gladly gave as you readied yourself for bed. And I'll go to work, and I'll go to sleep. Your coworker left angry voicemails that you deleted without a second's thought. The bed sheets were cool and soft against your skin, heavy but clear as it sunk into the pillow. And I'll love the littler things. Your eyes closed easily, remnants of salty air clinging to the back of your throat, as you dreamed of fields of blooming red roses floating easily on delicate blue waves against the sunset of against the sunset of orange and shimmering gold. I'll love some littler things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry about the loud mic talking, but I feel like it was kind of necessary. But yeah, there's some minor ear rape warnings in a couple of it for like, where the heck are you? You bailed on the date that I set you up on, and shut up. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, I think I'll be doing 1 chapter per video now, because, have you seen last video? That one's like 15 minutes long, and I'm so sorry for that. This one's a bit more short, so, yeah. Also, I saw it got a dislike on that one, but, yeah, it's honestly fine if you don't like my content. If you don't like my content, then you shouldn't be there, actually. So, yeah. But anyways, yeah, have a nice day, night, wherever you are, whenever this posts. Yeah, see y'all in the next video.